Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
It is the final day of the month of June. And I think you know what that means, Grayson. It is once again time to award KREF Recruiter of the Month.
Ooh.
That's where we're at. It was a big month for Oklahoma in the recruiting world. I believe, and let me fact check myself here so I don't lie to y'all, I believe the tally was 8 commits in the month of June. A quick fact check will either confirm this or indicate that I am a moron. In the month of June, you had, yes, 8. Matthew Nelson, Noah Best, Derek Johnson, DeZaphan Walker, Bo Bentley, Bo Jandro, Daniel Norman, and Deacon Schmidt, as well as Trace Rudd. So if you're counting the kicker, technically 9. And he is going to be a scholarship addition. So call it 9. 9 commitments in the month of June for Oklahoma. So when we run it all down, Grayson, I know what my answer is. But if you had to cast your vote for KREF Recruiter of the Month, then y'all can let us know as well at 405-651-3439 on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line who your vote goes to. But who are you selecting, Grayson? Who's your nominee?
The easy answer is Bill Beadenbow because he was able to lock down Noah Best and Deacon Schmidt, 2 4-star offensive linemen, and that seems to be a position that you really need those guys. I said it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to stick by it, man. I think the way that Oklahoma was able to pull off this DeZaphan Walker thing, entering into the fray as late as they did, he had never been on campus. He comes to campus on a midweek. There was nobody else there. Nebraska is looming. Missouri is looming. They have the geographical advantage over Oklahoma for him, for a guy from Peculiar, Missouri. And comes there one time, got the offer within 40 days of his visit, and ultimately his commitment. I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring for DeMarco Murray. I think that was highly, highly impressive to bring in a 4-star running back, especially once you consider the backdrop of the fact that they had missed out on Caden Jones, they had missed out on Jonathan Hatton, they had missed out on flipping Rylan Morris. Ryan Estrada ends up committing to Minnesota as well. I think context and all and the timeline of events, I got to go DeMarco.
Interesting. Okay, so you're zigging a little bit where I and many others will zag because I feel like the easiest answer is Bo Bentley and thus Ben Arbuckle.
Okay.
I think Bo Bentley is probably the easiest answer when you're pointing to what was the most consequential addition in the month of June for Oklahoma on the recruiting
In terms
trail.
of consequential, yes,
Yeah.
you are correct.
And so I am nominating Ben Arbuckle for KREF Recruiter of the Month. Grayson has nominated DeMarco Murray. And Bill Beadenbow, certainly, by virtue of the fact that he landed multiple commitments, is automatically in contention as well. So there you go. Your 3 finalists for KREF Recruiter of the Month. Bill Beadenbow, Ben Arbuckle, DeMarco Murray. Cast your votes on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. And we'll see who comes out on top via the popular vote. 0-star. I knew this was coming.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's not Joe John Finley. You got to stop glossing over his shortcomings. Lost Jefferson kid when the immediate help is needed.
I'm glad he went there because that was my question when I saw that he committed to Utah. What happened, man? What happened with that?
That's rough, isn't it? Now, I mentioned on Friday, hours before Jefferson's pledge, that things were looking very uncertain as the decision approached. And this was not a decision that was made with finality until the final couple of hours before his announcement. But I'm comfortable saying it now. it's in the past. What's done is done. He's a Utah Ute, so anything that happened previously doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Josiah Jefferson silent committed to Oklahoma while he was on the visit. But he still took the trip to Utah. And Utah convinced him they could develop him better and would utilize him better. And honestly, Grayson, I think you have to acknowledge that that is a compelling pitch to put in front of a tight end in particular, because Utah has done well at the tight end position in recent years.
Yes, they have.
Dalton Kincaid, Brant Keith. Who was the kid from Baylor? I'm blanking on his name.
He's the one I was thinking about over the weekend.
Exactly. The kid from Baylor that was a basketball player.
Yes.
And transferred there last year, had a pretty good season at Utah. His name escapes me. But the point remains, Utah is a pretty alluring destination for a tight end. And so Josiah Jefferson got on campus, heard out Kyle Whittingham and his staff, and ultimately decided, as far as opportunity goes, I'm better off at Utah than I am at Oklahoma, despite the family ties. His older brother, Tony, was a great safety at Oklahoma, was an All-Big 12 nominee, still playing in the NFL 13 years after he was I'm trying to think, is it year 12? I guess it's technically year 12 because he spent a year off of football as a scouting assistant in the Baltimore Ravens front office. But Tony Jefferson's played 12 years in the National Football League as a safety. And so the ties to OU were strong. The reason why he ended up on OU's radar in the first place was because Tony Jefferson tweeted at Jim Naggie and was like, hey, my little brother would love to be a Sooner, ready to make plays in this offense. Well, end of the day, just lost a recruiting battle, Grayson. And I know some have said, well, he was a PWO at Oklahoma anyway. No, he wasn't. He was offered a full scholarship. You don't OV a walk-on.
No.
That's happened maybe once or twice to my recollection in the entire span of time that I've been covering OU recruiting. And the one time I can distinctly remember them OVing a walk-on, it was Chapman McCown, who's from Norman North, and had no travel expenses whatsoever to drive 5 minutes down the road. So from an expenditure standpoint, you're not spending any money whatsoever on that kid to do his OV. But no, Josiah Jefferson was a scholarship guy at the University of Oklahoma. They wanted him. They hoped to get him on board. They hoped to get him eligible for the 2025 season. They hoped to get him to fall camp in August and get him competing for that starting job at tight end. It was not to be. He is a Utah Ute.
Hey, Dan in Madison, Mississippi, before we get to some of the texts about Recruiter of the Month, I like this text. I said it for months. I played that position. I know the mindset. Guys want to play tight end to catch the football. They do not want to play the position to be a glorified tackle. They realize that part of the job is to block, but they also want to catch passes. Until Oklahoma starts utilizing their tight end to catch passes, we will always fall short.
It's a great point,
It is a very astute point.
Especially because when you look at the last few years for Oklahoma at the tight end position, well, the last couple years, because Braden Willis did have a good year in 2022. Really strong year, actually. That was the last time, I think, where the tight end was prominently featured in Oklahoma's offense. Bauer Sharp led Oklahoma in several receiving categories last year. I believe he actually had more yards than anybody at 324. But that was just kind of by virtue of the fact that he was the only guy that was healthy all year.
Exactly.
Right? Like 324 yards is nothing to write home about, especially when it comes on 42 catches. Thus, 7.7 yards per catch.
Which is even worse.
Yeah. Nothing. Absolutely nothing you were writing home about. But you rewind to 2023, the Austin Stogner year, 17 catches for 196 yards and 1 touchdown for a guy that started every game at the position for OU. So, the last 2 seasons, Oklahoma has not gotten a whole lot out of the tight end position. And so, it feels like we've talked about it periodically for the entirety of the offseason, Grayson, but the reality looms right now. Somebody's going to have to break out at that spot for Oklahoma in 2025. Be it Caden Helms or Carson Kent or Will Huggins or Jaron Kanik or whomever, somebody's going to have a big year for Oklahoma.
And that's kind of where I started to go when we broached this topic in the 12 o'clock hour off of Phil Steele's prediction. Dude, nobody knows. I mean, what is there to be intrigued about if you're a tight end looking to come to Oklahoma right now? They haven't – I know Braden Willis had a good year, but they really haven't had a really good pass-catching tight end, to my recollection, since Mark Andrews. I don't think I'm far off with that if I'm off at all. Last year, the tight end room didn't look great, and everybody hates the tight end coach. Do with that what you may. And then this year, they're in a situation where there are 7 dudes that are vying for the spot, and we know nothing about any of them. So nothing about the situation right now, objectively speaking, would appeal to many. I'm not going to lie to you. It's kind of a miracle right now that they've kept Ryder Mix on board, and they're in position to get the commitment from Tyler Ruxer.
Which is going to be a great haul, right?
Which is a fantastic
– best.
Those are 2 really good tight ends that are coming in that are slated to come in right now when you have no idea what that position room looks like.
That's the best tight end class. If it comes to fruition and Oklahoma gets Tyler Ruxer, which I think they're going to do, that's the best tight end class that Oklahoma has signed in a decade plus. Easily. The Waffler on the text line said, Austin Stogner is going to eat in Jeff Lebby's offense. That is a take that I had. That take did not age well. I was convinced, man. I was convinced that Jeff Lebby's offense was so conducive to a big, big year for Austin Stogner, and it was the exact opposite. He did pretty much nothing. Oh, you heck said, I heard Jefferson didn't think his arm was strong enough to throw interceptions at OU.
That was funny.
Michael and Marlowe says, what? You mean to tell me tight ends don't like to throw the ball and run jet sweeps? You want to see the negative side of the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line? Just mention the tight end position. That's all you have to do to stir the hornet's nest.
I will say, if you watch Josiah Jefferson's film, he does seem like somebody you could successfully run a tight end jet sweep with.
Tommy says, that's so disgusting to hear. While true, it's still disgusting. Hashtag Bauer. What, is that in reference to the 7.7 yards per catch? The unfortunate part was I think the longest catch and run of Bauer Sharp's season that stood was the pass he caught on a fake punt in Columbia from Luke Elzinga.
That wasn't in Columbia. That was here. Oh, Missouri. I thought you said Columbus.
Yeah.
That's on me. That's on me.
Yeah, no, that was up in Missouri. What it would have been.
I was thinking South Carolina.
Yeah, it was in Auburn. He caught a pass from Michael Hawkins and rambled for like 46 yards, and it came back due to was it an offensive pass interference penalty, I think?
Yeah.
Regardless, it felt like every single time Bauer Sharp did something well, there was something right there to undermine it, whether it was his own doing or someone else's.
A verified source says, that take didn't age well, but it seemed neither did Stogner.
And a 918 listener added, pre-injury Stogner would have been a force in Lebby's offense. Yeah. It might have been the pre-injury version of Austin Stogner that was stuck in my brain that made me so confident he was going to pop off. A 405 listener asks, seriously, has there been a tight end that has stood out this summer? Deep breath.
Uh-oh.
Look, and I'll say this every single year. I think pretty much all of what happens in summer matters not at all. I do not think what happens in the 7-on-7 sessions and the non-padded workouts over the summer, like to me, anything I hear over the course of the summer, while I don't disregard it, I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock into it. What happens on the field when they're wearing pads in spring, I will be a lot more inclined to believe the hype and believe the buzz that's coming out of spring. But for the most part, what happens over the summer, at least in my experience, has very seldom been a reliable predictor of what's going to happen come the fall.
I don't think I totally disagree with you. In concept, I probably do agree with you. But I think in this situation, you would have liked to hear something, especially from a quarterback-tight end relationship. You would have liked to hear somebody notice that, ooh, John likes this guy at tight end more. Because tight ends, can own the middle of the field, stretch the, the deep seam and whatnot. So it would have been nice to hear, oh, John likes this guy. But also, here's the fact. Real talk, there are 6 or 7 dudes that are vying for this one spot. and none of them have stood out? Not one? Not two? We're not at the point where we can trim the list to, okay, here are the 3 going into fall camp that we think could be tight end 1. We're not even at that point yet. That, to me, while it won't say everything, we should know something at this point.
A verified source on the text line asked, and this is a question that has come up several times over the last couple of hours, and I intentionally waited until locked in to dig into it. But Joel Wyatt, the 4-star athlete from Webb, Tennessee, who was supposed to commit on July 6th, announced this morning that he had postponed his commitment date. This came after OU offered him, last Thursday? So they offer him like a week and a half from the finish line, ostensibly. But now here's the news, waking up Monday morning, that Joel Wyatt's pushing back his commitment date. So is that explicitly good news for OU specifically? I don't know. Haven't really had the chance to dig into it yet. But the very fact that he's not committing as early as he was once planning on committing would tell you that the door is open, if only a crack. It is open for Oklahoma to make a run at Joel Wyatt.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
I'm telling you there's a chance. How much of one? I don't really have a reliable gauge on that yet, but there appears to be a chance that they can actually make a run at Joel Wyatt. So we will see where that leads. Bobby and B.A. wanted to know, Parker, what are your thoughts on Jim Nagy's tweets over the weekend? Specifically telling that Twitter user Sean to chill and then calling out college kids. Thanks.
Oh, he was on a heater over the weekend.
Jim Naggie was not backing down. He hit the Twitterverse with a little bit of venom on Saturday after Deacon Schmidt committed.
He was feeling himself, wasn't he? Just a little bit.
I mean, I like it.
I do too.
I don't he's not calling anyone out specifically. It's not like he's beefing with anybody. It's not like he's actively engaging in Twitter beef with any particular individual. His exact tweet was, Bill Bedenbaugh walking out of any offensive line recruit's living room who actually cares about getting developed for the NFL, and then there's a GIF attached. But, again, I think it's pretty harmless when he's not calling anyone out specifically. And I kind of loved the response where a Twitter user named Sean Strong was he offered some sort of rejoinder to it. Well, we got to start landing some recruits at some point. When we start going to get some wide receivers. Oh, here's what it was. Man, this is so awesome. Can we get some receivers? And Jim Nagy's response is, chill, Sean. I love it, man. I just love the fact that Jim Naggie isn't afraid to get out there in the public eye and interact with the fans on social media. That, to me, regardless of what it looks like specifically, is just awesome.
I say this as I'm wearing a polo right now, which, quite frankly, I have no idea why I am. But I do think that just because you have a job where you have to wear a polo or dress in more formal attire than that on going up that ladder, doesn't mean you can't fire back at some people. I don't mind a GM firing back at some people. I think some people are a little too formal and a little too buttoned up. No, you could throw some punches every now and then.
Jim Naggie is not that, man. That's been evident ever since he took the job.
I'm here for it.
As am I. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. We have much more to dig into on the other side. ESPN put out an article asking the question, who won the month of June in recruiting across college football? Oklahoma, I'll let you know, in the winners and losers portion of the article, Oklahoma did get a mention. Were they a winner? Were they a loser? What are the details therein? We'll discuss that and more on the other side. Keep it here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Your dream home is right around the corner. We're here to make it a reality. With competitive rates, personalized service, and streamlined processes, buying your first home or your forever home has never been easier. Let Stride's experienced mortgage team guide you every step of the way from pre-qualification to closing. With local roots and national reach, Stride Bank is your go-to partner for all your banking needs. Stride Bank, your trusted financial partner since 1913. Find out more at stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Are you in need of purchasing your own health insurance? Are you turning 65 and confused about Medicare? Are you an employer looking at offering benefits to your staff? Call the agents at Allison Insurance. They'll sort through the confusion. They're not captive to just one company, and they'll get the best option for you. Don't get frustrated. Call Allison Insurance at 800-580-5587 or 745-2968. Allison Insurance. They are the experts.
Don't miss out on OKC's hottest entertainment at the Showplace Theater with acts like
Air Supply, July 25th. Tracy Lawrence, August 1st.
Time marches on.
Sammy Kershaw, August 15th.
I ain't no angel.
And Bret Michaels, September 27th.
Every rose has its
Riverwind is OKC's favorite casino experience.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Mathew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information.
The wait is almost over, and football is almost back. What better way to celebrate than to give members of the Ref Army opportunities to win big with the Ref's third annual Gridiron Giveaway. Join us for our Gridiron Giveaway, live from Buffalo Wild Wings in Norman, just south of Highway 9 on Classen, from noon until 7, as we give away 70 different teams from the Power Conferences. And those lucky enough to get one of the final 4 finishers in the college football playoff will get one of our 4 grand prizes. Even members of the Ref Army who don't get a team still get a chance at one of our many instant prizes. The Ref's third annual Gridiron Giveaway is brought to you by Riverwind Casino and Hotel. Riverwind is complimented by a variety of bars, restaurants, and the best live music in the metro. It's no surprise that Riverwind is always a good time. That's the Ref's Gridiron Giveaway at Buffalo Wild Wings in Norman on July 30th from noon to 7. The home of Sooner fans. The Ref Sports Radio Network.
I'm Ben Affleck, and I want to thank you for joining me and supporting Paralyzed Veterans of America.
I joined the Navy to serve my country. While parachuting with my platoon, my parachute didn't open, and I broke my neck.
Thanks to PVA, paralyzed veterans are getting specialized medical care and treatments, the jobs they want, and the accessible vehicles and homes they need.
I just don't think my family would be as happy as they are without the support that I received from Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Learn more at PVA.org.
For decades, Moore Norman Tech has been training skilled and dedicated individuals, giving clear career paths to hundreds of graduates a year. These passionate individuals are the heartbeat of the Oklahoma workforce, serving thousands of companies that fuel this state's economy. Individuals like you. Here's to the next generation of entrepreneurs, craftsmen, and go-getters who will shape the future of this state. Oklahoma is powered by Career Tech.
I am so tired of AI.
Oh, are we going to go into this?
I have to get this off my chest. I am
Go
so
for it.
tired of AI. And those of you that insist upon injecting AI into the most rudimentary, mundane aspects of day-to-day life, I'm sorry to tell you this. I'm sorry if I'm the first to tell you this. I shouldn't have to be the first. You are part of the problem. The reason why I'm particularly miffed about AI today is because at OUinsider.com yesterday, I sat down. I wrote a big, lengthy editorial column kind of summarizing what's happened over the last week for Oklahoma in recruiting, previewing what's ahead, offering some insights and thoughts based on source conversations with the program. Lengthy piece, right? Probably, if I had to eyeball it here and I didn't pay attention to the word, this is probably 2,500, 3,000 words. Within an hour or two, in the comment section, there is somebody jumping in and posting a condensed version of my article generated with AI. This individual basically said, if you don't want to read the whole thing, and then posted AI slop summarizing everything I wrote in probably 250 words. Folks, are our brains this fried by technology? Have our attention spans become this destroyed that we no longer have the capacity to consume long-form journalism and feel like if it can't be digested within 90 seconds, that we can't make the expenditure of time and effort to consume it? Don't even get me started on the people in the replies of every single freaking tweet. Grayson, they're like, at Grok, please comment on this. Is this true? Explain this to me like I'm 5. You're talking to a bot. Ask a human being. Engage in conversation with another life form. If the very first recourse that you have upon reading a piece of news on Twitter, if your very first thought is, I better get in the comments and ask Grok to confirm this. In the words of Ron Swanson, reconsider your life.
Hey, man, look, like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, as a co-host and a friend, I did kind of feel bad for you. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I would like my work. I have no idea how long it took you to write that piece.
Oh, look, and to be clear, it's not about me. I just see this far too often. It was the first time yesterday that I'd had a piece of my own work subjected to it.
But I will say, you don't want your own work that you put time and energy into being summarized by some loser who doesn't want to read.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you're counting on a bot to generate a summary. John and 8 on the text line asked Parker, was the condensed version accurate, though? LOL. I mean, if you're okay with consuming literally just the absolute bare bones of the stuff I wrote, I suppose so, but you missed so much color, so much detail.
Exactly.
By consuming the AI version of the post. Which, again, if you're relying on a bot, you have no idea whether that bot is actually going to do the job of, or the task, whatever task you assign it to. You have no idea if it's actually going to do that task in a satisfactory manner. Mm-hmm. It might, or it might not. Like people, artificial intelligence is occasionally not that intelligent. Santa John says, Parker, did I not compliment you regarding your article? It is outstanding. Grayson, read the whole article. You did, Santa John, and I appreciate that.
No, I did read the whole article, Santa John. I don't know why you called me out of that. I did read the whole article. It was fantastic.
Drew from Flymount says, Parker can be pretty dramatic sometimes, not the hill to die on. Drew, I'm just saying. And you're like my age too. Am I perhaps a little bit curmudgeonly relative to about this particular issue, relative to what somebody in their mid-20s should reasonably think about AI? Maybe so. I just think it's a significant danger to the overall IQ of humanity because we're going to start relying on machines to do our jobs for us and perform tasks for us and ultimately think for us instead of using our own brains to accomplish things.
It was funny about that because my girlfriend was telling me over the weekend that she drove or rode in a self-driving car over the weekend.
See, self-driving car, I don't mind.
Oh, I do. I would not. I'm not trusting machines. By the way, Tyler from Kellyville, Parker with his very first old man rant. Steely would be proud.
Pastor MC added, if Steely is listening to this, his eyes are filled with prideful tears.
4-star Sooner Bub says, why is Pickle catching strays? Exactly.
I'd be okay if we got to the point as a society where every car was a self-driving car. I would not choose to get in a self-driving car while there are actual humans doing their own driving on the same road. But, shoot, man, if I had, for instance, I'll use last week's example. If I had 12 hours on the road back from Indianapolis to complete other tasks rather than just stare at pavement, I'd be down with that. I'd be more than down for that. 580 Mike Honcho says, it's just Steely rubbing off on you, Parker. Welcome to the old man club. Drew from Plowman says, we already see these high schoolers be using AI. No thought-provoking ideas. It is going to permanently shift the world of academia it, because nobody is ever going to graduate college again, or even graduate high school for that matter, without having leaned on AI at some point. Are you comfortable with that? Are you comfortable with society becoming that? Personally, I am not. But hey, if you are, that's fine. We don't have to agree. It's just the fate of humanity at stake. That's all. Okay, let's get back to football. What did I want to get to?
You wanted to get to this ESPN article about the winners of recruiting in the month of June.
This ESPN article, which was written by a real person.
Who does a really damn good job.
And a very intelligent one at that. Eli Letterman, who was on the OU beat with us for 2, maybe 3 years.
I was about to say, isn't Eli our age? Give or take?
I think Eli's a couple of years older than I am. So
okay.
He's from our generation, to be certain. He may have a year or two on me. But Eli does a tremendous job covering recruiting on a national scale these days for ESPN. And he put out a very lengthy, in-depth article, which should be read in its entirety rather than spit into an AI software to generate a blurb version. But he listed 10 winners in the month of June in the world of recruiting. And Oklahoma was one of those 10 winners. I'll read you what Eli wrote. With his own hand, or fingertips, as the case may be. With only 2 ESPN 300 pledges in 2026, the Sooners still have plenty of work to do between now and the early signing period. However, Oklahoma avoided disaster at the quarterback position on June 20th when number 5 dual-threat passer Bo Bentley committed to the program, sealing a major recruiting win for Coach Brent Venables and first-year offensive coordinator Ben Arbuckle. Bentley's pledge marked the end of a recruiting tightrope walk for the Sooners. Oklahoma had appeared settled with its 2026 quarterback after Jaden O'Neal's commitment last June, but upon Arbuckle's arrival in December, the program swiftly shifted its focus to an all-out pursuit of Bentley this spring, a move that alienated O'Neal and exposed the Sooners to the risk of missing out on both ESPN 300 passers this summer. That possibility hung in the balance as Bentley took visits to both Oklahoma and LSU earlier this month, but the Sooners remained confident throughout Bentley's process before securing the pledge of ESPN's number 168 overall recruit. Oklahoma can now turn its attention to the rest of the 2026 class, working to flip the downward trend for a program that has fallen in ESPN's class rankings each year since the Sooners locked down the nation's number 4 class in 2023. Somebody on the text line said, "At Grok, please summarize this last segment for me." But what say you about that little OU blurb from Eli Letterman there? I think it's pretty unquestionable that Oklahoma was a winner coming out of the month of June with 9 commits.
Yes, and the raw number would tell you that. Just also taking the commitment of Bo Bentley, also I think, would put you in that range. I think the fans would be a little dissatisfied of what happened in the month of June, given the losses. Now, do I think Oklahoma is a loser in the month of June? Absolutely not. You got your quarterback of the future. You got your offensive coordinator's quarterback of the future. You continue to fortify the defensive line, and you got 2 linebackers, which is a huge, huge position of need. All that was done in the month. Well, I guess Ja'Cory Smith was in May. But you got a second linebacker. My point still tracks. But there were a lot of losses. There was a ton of negative going on here. I mean, we could talk about the guys you lost out to. I mean, Craig Gandridge didn't end up here. Dallas Dickerson, who you really thought was going to end up here, didn't end up here. Josiah Jefferson, kind of adding a further kick in the groin to that, him, being a legacy ending up at Utah. So I think all in all, Danny Odom didn't end up coming here, and Will Conroy flipped.
Yep.
So all in all, you don't fall into a loser category. But when I think winner, I think, oh, we got momentum, everything's ascending, and Oklahoma still might end up with a really good class. But am I that stoked about what Oklahoma did in the month of June? No. And it's not because of just the 9 commits. It's because of the other L's that you took, not to mention an interior offensive lineman flipping, which leaves a gaping hole there.
I think 2 things can be true, right? And 2 things are true. It was a big month for Oklahoma. It could have been a lot bigger. Absolutely could have been a lot bigger. And you weren't far off from the month being a whole lot bigger. We talked about the fact that Danny Odom was another guy that was silent committed to OU. Nebraska got him to take the visit. They changed his mind. That's a top 100 player in the nation, top 10 cornerback nationally that Oklahoma could have had on board. Same goes for a guy like Dallas Dickerson, a guy that Jim Naggie and his staff absolutely loved. Weird process down the stretch. Seemed like Oklahoma led real close to the finish line, and then Kentucky was able to gain some late steam, and that pushed him over the top. Moving ahead into the month of July, it seems that there's honestly not a ton that is left to be decided for Oklahoma. Not a ton that is left to be determined. We know several commitment dates that are coming up within the next couple of weeks. Just to rattle off a few, Braden Presley coming up this Thursday. I've got Oklahoma State as the destination for him.
Interesting.
It is. Sooners have kind of backed off there with the knowledge that they're trending very well with Jacob Eberhardt, the 4-star safety out of Kirkwood, Missouri, who's going to commit on July 12th. I like OU in that race. I like OU for Tyler Ruxer and Braxton Lindsey on July 7th. A couple that are going to be hotly contested down the stretch. However, a couple processes where it does feel that Oklahoma still has some work to do and they still need the tide to turn is, hey, look, Zachary Turner commits on July 6th. Jordan Clay commits on July 11th. 2 blue-chip wide receivers from the state of Texas. You got to overcome Miami right now for Turner. You got to overcome Baylor for Jordan Clay. Does Oklahoma get both of those guys? No. Do they even get one of those guys? I would put it at less than a 50% chance right now. I think they're running second for Turner. I think they're running second for Jordan Clay. But to me, Grayson, one of the most interesting storylines to monitor over the next couple of weeks is going to be, does Oklahoma start to act desperate when it comes to wide receiver recruiting? Because the options are eliminating themselves one by one. Dallas Dickerson off the board, Craig Dandridge off the board. When you look at the wide receivers that Oklahoma OV'd in the month of June, there are only 3 of them that are still uncommitted. Davian Gross and the 2 that I already mentioned, Zachary Turner and Jordan Clay. Oklahoma wants to take 4 receivers. They have 1 commit thus far. Let's do some quick math. 4 minus 1 is 3. They need to go find 3 more receivers, and there are only 3 receivers that took OVs to Oklahoma and thereby could be considered viable, realistic possibilities for Oklahoma at this point that are, as of yet, uncommitted. We have no idea when Davian Gross is going to commit. I do think Oklahoma leads in that process, but let's just say you count Gross among the ranks of the pledges. Say for the sake of the hypothetical, you get Gross. That's a done deal, Davian Gross to Oklahoma. Well, that's 2. Who are the other 2? If it's not Zachary Turner and Jordan Clay, you're going further down the board come the fall. And so, does Oklahoma start to act with a sense of desperation in trying to close the deal down the stretch with Zachary Turner and Jordan Clay? I don't know the answer yet. But you would think that Oklahoma would be inclined to spend a little bit more money, open up the pocketbook a little bit wider.
You're going to have to.
At least one of those guys.
You're going to have to.
At least one of those guys. And to be clear, I don't think Miami is out of the woods with Zach Turner. I don't think Baylor's out of the woods with Jordan Clay. Oklahoma could win either of those battles. But ultimately, as with many blue-chip wide receivers these days, I think it's just going to come down to what you're willing to put in front of them monetarily.
Real quickly, because I know we got to get a break. Do you still think that one of the two, Davian Gross and Jordan Clay, one ends up at Oklahoma and one ends up at Baylor?
I do. And I would say Gross to OU right now, Clay to Baylor, if I had to guess. Both situations, highly unsettled. All right, folks, 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. We will be back to wrap up Locked In next. One segment to go here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Sooner football? We do too. This is The Ref, home of Sooner fans.
Hey Sooner fans, it's almost football season, and there's no better time to gear up than right now at Balfour of Norman, your locally owned headquarters for all things Sooner. Whether you're searching for your new lucky game day polo, tee, or hat, we've got you covered from top brands like Nike, Jordan, and Tommy Bahama. Looking to take your tailgate or watch party up a notch? Check out our great selection of OU glassware, flags, and serving pieces. Come support local, stock up on Sooner style, and get ready to yell Boomer Sooner, only at Balfour of Norman, where Sooner spirit lives year-round.
The Cornhole Tournament is back at Buffalo Wild Wings. Come out to the Bixby Buffalo Wild Wings on Saturday, July 12th. Registration begins at 11 a.m. with the tournament starting at noon. You can enjoy $2, $3, or $4 drink specials during the event, plus great prizes for first, second, and third place, along with many other great prizes, including a grand prize of Ultra Cornhole boards. Join Buffalo Wild Wings in Bixby, July 12th, starting at noon for the 2025 Summer Cornhole Tournament.
Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Here at The Ref, we know football, and we talk football every single day. But it wouldn't be possible without the great people at Wade Electric. Because while we know football, we trust Wade Electric for all of our electrical needs. Anytime we need electrical work done at our station, we call Wade Electric. They've been out to install new exterior lighting, convert interior lighting to LED, update devices, and install new power where needed. Call them today at 405-329-1940. Wade Electric, the electrical experts.
The legendary tailgates, the iconic traditions, the electric atmosphere, the Sooner magic. There's only one place to experience it all this fall. The countdown to football time in Oklahoma is on, and tickets for select games are on sale now. Don't miss the out-of-your-seat, top-of-your-lungs energy at the Palace this season. Ticket availability is limited, and seats are selling fast. Visit Soonersports.com to get your tickets today.
We all play a role in keeping our communities safe. Oklahoma is no stranger to attacks. It's now easier than ever. If you see something, say something. The free and anonymous Protect OK app allows instant reporting of suspicious activity, both in schools and the community. You can help keep your family and friends safe. Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Download the Protect OK app today in the Apple App or Google Play stores. Funded by the Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security.
Now. We tend not to think about now. We dream about tomorrow, relive yesterday. But right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. Learn more at v.org.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Your dream home is right around the corner, and at Stride Bank, we're here to make it a reality. With competitive rates, personalized service, and streamlined processes, buying your first home or your forever home has never been easier. Let Stride's experienced mortgage team guide you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to closing. With local roots and national reach, Stride Bank is your go-to partner for all your banking needs. Stride Bank, your trusted financial partner since 1913. Find out more at stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Are you, your family, or company looking for a locally owned and trusted management group? Carlsbad Management Group is an owner, developer, and manager of high-quality apartment communities in Oklahoma. They are a locally owned and operated management company for apartments and self-storage units. They are committed to providing exceptional apartment homes, customer service, and increasing the value of multi-family communities under our management. If you would like a free management quote today, call Carlsbad Management at 405-701-1411 and be part of the Carlsbad family.
1-star Salmon Edmonds on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, 405-651-3439, said, I'd bet Thune a virgin strawberry daiquiri that Helms is tight end 1 when the season starts. I believe he's healthy for the first time, and this could be the Helms breakout we've been waiting for. Hey, Sam, listen. I've been waiting for it too, man. My fellow Nebraskan, Caden Helms, if he were tight end 1 to start the season, I would absolutely love it. I would relish it. However, I will take your bet. If for no other reason, then I get a virgin strawberry daiquiri either way. It's just a matter of whether I'm buying. So I'll take any excuse to consume a virgin strawberry daiquiri. You're on. I have the field. You have Caden Helms. Let's rock. Houston Sooner says, hey, when did the recruiting rankings get updated? I'm curious how much our guys rise in the rankings after being found by Jim Naggie. So this is going to be interesting. And I don't know exactly how this is all going to play out over the next few days, but obviously On3 and Rivals are merging. Effective tomorrow. Tonight at midnight, On3 and Rivals officially merge. And so historically speaking, ever since On3 came into existence about 4 years ago, you've had 4 major services whose rankings have been factored into the industry composite. ESPN, 24/7, Rivals, and On3. Well, now you're going to have 3 major services. ESPN, 24/7, and the conglomerate that is On3 and Rivals. So how those rankings get adjusted given the merging of 2 independent entities, very different opinions and personnel and evaluations and calculus, that could really shake up the rankings here in the next few days. Again, I don't know necessarily how that is all going to pan out, but you would expect that there will be some substantial movement in the rankings, not just for OU commits, but for pretty much every single prospect across the industry because of a merger of that scale occurring. A 405 listener says, no one wants to play for Emmett Jones. Quit saying it's NIL.
There's been a lot of anti-Emmett Jones on the text line.
Which I don't get that, man. Because I'll tell you this much. Emmett Jones, from a relational standpoint, is one of the best in the country. Now, you can argue about his development. You can argue about his coach. Like, okay, you can have your own opinions on all of that. It's not an opinion that I hold, or just that I hold. It's an opinion shared by many across the recruiting industry. And Emmett Jones has been no stranger to the world of recruiting, even before his days as a collegiate coach, because he was a longtime high school coach in the state of Texas. So there are people that have known and been around Emmett Jones for much, much longer than I have that can testify to the reality that from a relational standpoint, he is one of the absolute best in the game. And here's the deal, man. With blue chip wide receivers in particular, you don't fault them for this. It's the way it is. Those guys want to get paid. You understand, we all kind of understand what the stereotype is when it comes to receivers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like Stephon Diggs.
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, guys, the absolute highest end wide receivers, the most talented wide receivers in the game at any level, tend to have a personality. Tyreek Hill, there's another great example.
Sure.
Over the years, guys like Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, you name it. Chad Ochocinco, one of the greatest. These guys have personalities, and they're about the bling, and they're about the hype, and they're about the headlines, and that's fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. But when you're dealing with the top wide receiver prospects in the country, year in and year out on the recruiting trail, look at a guy like Tristan Keys, for instance.
I was just about to bring that up.
He is committed to LSU, and that commitment, if you followed his visits over the course of the summer, if you've read any of the comments he's made, you've come to understand that commitment doesn't mean much of anything.
No.
Because he is not committed to LSU in any sense beyond the verbal at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Florida Sooner says, quote-unquote relationships are meaningless to me. Don't tell me anything about that. Tell me how well the players coached by any individual perform on the field. Nothing else matters, literally nothing. And if that's all you care about, Florida Sooner, I think the season that is to come is a big one for Emmett Jones because, understandably, there are many who have a sour taste in their mouths about how Oklahoma's receivers played last year, but could that really be helped with how many injuries there were? Do you remember what the narrative was coming out of the 2023 season? With the play that Oklahoma got from their receivers that year?
Oh, it was incredible.
Oh, my goodness. Emmett Jones has transformed this room. With what Emmett Jones got out of guys like Andrell Anthony that year.
Yeah.
Jaden Gibson was another one that took huge strides. Drake Stoops had a career year. Emmett Jones got a lot of credit for that.
He got Drake Stoops to the league.
And then it seems a lot of people kind of turned on him, given what happened in 2024, which, again, I just don't think is fair. Because all his top 6 guys were hurt. His top 6 guys were hurt. And if you listen to Drake Stoops talk down the stretch in 2023 as he was, as his time as a Sooner was winding down and he was getting a little bit more introspective about everything, he himself said it. He said, Coach Jones has been so good for me and my development. He's a technician. He's taught me things that I didn't know even as a 6th-year senior. I think the world of Emmett Jones as a wide receivers coach. I don't shy away from that. And if you don't, that's okay. But here's the reality of recruiting wide receivers, especially blue-chip wide receivers in this day and age, man. Like, if a guy like Emmett Jones loses a kid, especially to a school like Baylor, for instance, it's going to be about the money. That's going to be the primary reason why it didn't come to fruition. And if Emmett Jones wins a battle over several other big-time schools for an elite prospect at that position, odds are it's because he was able to overcome the hurdle of the financial with relationships and the promise of development. And there's some that will ask, well, so do you basically mean like Emmett Jones gets the credit when a guy does commit to Oklahoma and he doesn't get any of the blame when a guy doesn't commit to Oklahoma? In a sense, yeah.
There are some times where that can be the possibility.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and we can run down pretty much every single individual recruitment of a wide receiver since Emmett Jones got to town. Think it was his choice to part ways with Grayson Harris and Marcus Harris at the end of last cycle? No, he hated that, man. Hated that. But that's just the business of it. And I think Emmett Jones is a guy that he's very, very good at operating within the constraints of the business and doing his job to the best of his ability. KW91A asks, if OU's going the front office route in regards to recruiting, do you think they will transition toward coaches more known for development than recruiting? Because development last year, especially on offense, left a lot to be desired. I think certain schools will, KW. I think certain schools will be less inclined to hire the recruiter archetype, certainly. But did development leave much to be desired last year? Kind of like the whole conversation surrounding Jackson Arnold that we had last hour. I really don't know that you can speak on that conclusively because there was so much that went wrong. Again, can you really say, oh, this guy wasn't developed the way he should have been? Somebody like Ivan Carrion shouldn't have seen the field at all last year.
And you could probably put that on a couple of other players, too.
Mm-hmm. Bobby and BA wants to know, Parker, will there still be separate sites with On3 and OU Insider? Folks, you want to find OUinsider.com, you just type OUinsider.com into your browser. It'll always take you there. That is on Rivals for the moment. By tomorrow, it'll be at On3. But as long as you type OUinsider.com into your browser, it's always going to take you straight to the site that is operated by me and Brandon Drum and Jesse Critton and Brody Lusk, the whole squad. And a good squad it is. We do our best to keep you up to speed about everything that's going on in the world of Oklahoma recruiting in particular, but football, basketball, baseball, softball, several, both baseball and softball portal notes earlier today already from Jesse and our guy Josh Mahler. It's the place to be. And we hope as our site makes the transition over to On3 that y'all will come give us a try. For today on Locked In, it's a wrap. For Grayson Singleton, I am Parker Thune. It's been fun. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Same time, same place, with much more OU recruiting talk. Here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans, The Rush is coming your way next with Teddy Lehman and Tyler McComas.